Okay, we're going to have a little bit of a pregame show, just a little bit of a pregame show today. Kind of makes up for being late some of the other days, maybe, maybe not. But we're going to hopefully have a guest coming in as well. And I'm trying to find this on my iPad just to make sure everything is copacetic. Okay, does seem to be the case. And Derek's in the house, and he says, Prince Charles has it, he probably wasn't wearing a date 8. Well, there you go. It's not fair. Prince Charles is from the House of Windsor, not the House of Tudor. There you go. All right, Prince Charles. Well, hopefully he'll recover. We're getting... I was listening to Ben Shapiro's podcast when I walked today, and there was some encouraging, positive news that he came out with. That's still a little early on the data, but there's some encouraging news. We'll keep our fingers crossed that the things that he was talking about are true, and it could be some very good news indeed. So let's stay tuned for the next couple of days and see what happens. Thurston Howell III is in the house. He says hello there. Cheetown says hello. And the Stevester might be Skyping in to the show here in a little while. And watches have zero value in this market. John is in the house. We're going to talk about watches and why it might be a good time to buy. Good time to buy, especially Grand Seiko watches. That's the topic of the show today. Another reason for 18 karat gold, it has superior antimicrobial properties in stainless steel, as does titanium. And there's a titanium stunner right there, my 231, which I wear often. That's a perfect heavy use Armageddon, end of the world watch. That'd be the one that you would grab, would be the 231. If all you know what is breaking loose. Is Steve hurting business-wise? John in the house? Well, you can ask him. I'm sure it's not helpful. I'm sure this whole situation is not helpful for him. Let me see. I think I got a text just now. It might be from him. They are all in the safe, so we'll have to wing it. I don't even know the combination. Okay. So I asked Steve if he could show some watches, and he says they're in the safe. So I guess he's not going to show many watches, but maybe he can talk about what he does have in inventory. And the Pontiff did a review on the 231, and it was actually a fairly positive review. I was impressed. He got some facts wrong, which, these so-called experts, these watch experts, often do. He said that it had a ceramic bezel. It doesn't. And he also said that the titanium scratches easier than stainless steel, and that's a wives' tale. The alloy that Grand Seiko uses, do not confuse that with like the grade 2 titanium that the new Bond watch is made of. That will scratch very easily, of course, but the alloy that Grand Seiko uses is tough stuff and actually harder than the stainless steel that Rolex uses. And mine is almost 2 years old of heavy use, and it's holding up just fine, thank you. Will it get small scratches on it? Absolutely, any watch will, but it'll hold up better than your typical stainless steel watch. Stainless steel watches scratch like crazy. I mean, they're just like, my gosh, they scratch like no tomorrow. Anybody that's owned a watch and actually used it knows that. So, hey guys, did I miss much? No, this is the pre-game show. You didn't miss much at all. We're just getting warmed up. Yes, please, let's come up with a few best watches to buy right now, please. Thurston Howell III. We're going to talk about that. Hello, everyone. Craig, you never wear the same tie. You must have hundreds of them staying in the house. I have a lot of them. I have a lot of everything. Now, I do wear this suit fairly often. This is one of my favorite suits. This is from Georgetown University shop years ago, and it's, I believe, made by Corbin, but for Georgetown University shop, and it's one of my favorites. So I do wear it fairly often, and it'll go with anything. It's like a dark charcoal. It's got a very fine square pattern to it. I don't know if you can see the fine lines, little like square pattern, but exceptionally comfortable, very versatile. Somebody asked me yesterday, what would I do if if instantly I had to replace my entire wardrobe, and I said I'd have to give that a lot of thought because a lot of the items that I have would be almost impossible to replace because they're not even made in these United States anymore. A lot of the sport coats and suits that I have, almost all of them are made in the USA. Some things made in England, but most made in the USA. And a lot of the makers just aren't even in business anymore. And so it would be very difficult for a lot of the items to even be replaced. So now I would get Bill's khakis. Again, they're still made in the USA as far as I know, the Bill's khakis. They're my staple when I'm wearing sport coats. I'm usually wearing a pair of Bill's khakis with them. And of course, Russell Moccasin Company still makes shoes. You can still order shoes from them. Yeah, Alden, you can still buy Alden shoes. So that would be a way to go. Oxford still makes suits and sport coats. You can have them custom made. And not with the newer styles. I'd get very conservative styles. I wouldn't have like the real short sport coats and suits and the goofy stuff that people are wearing now. I'd go with the more classic designs like what I'm wearing now. But yeah, I think I could rebuild a wardrobe of sorts. But again, it wouldn't be the same as what I have now because a lot of the items just aren't even available. Yes, please, let's come up with a few best. Okay, we already read that. Let's see here. It's sad. Everyone is living paycheck to paycheck in this society, and because people are irresponsible, we are all affected. Watch when we get these checks. 50% of the people will spend it on an iPhone. John in the house. Yeah, I hear you. And we're going to talk about hyperinflation and the possibility of that with these many trillions of dollars that are going to be printed, and how we should play that. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And that's why I would suggest that that people that have been considering buying a Grand Seiko, that they go ahead and make a purchase, because when you have hyperinflation, the kinds of things that become a lot more expensive are generally things that are limited supply. Things like real estate sometimes will hyperinflate. Any kind of produced item that is produced in limited numbers can skyrocket in price. Because what happens when you have hyperinflation, if you have a lot more dollars flowing into the system and a fixed amount of products, so you have a lot more dollars competing for those products. And so, typically speaking, the price of those products goes sky high. And this can happen with food items also. With food, it can go, so any items that you eat that have a long shelf life, I would stock up. Stock up now, just in case hyperinflation kicks in, right? I'm not saying it's absolutely going to happen, but I'm saying go ahead and stock up on things that have a long shelf life. Equipment that you might need for your business. People are thinking, well, what do you mean by equipment for your business? But especially things that are limited production, that are not as easy to produce in high volume, like the high quality tripods that I use that are made in the United States of America. A lot of labor in those, and they can only produce so many. These companies are relatively small. Grand Seiko watches, a lot of handwork goes into these watches. It's not a mass-produced watch like a Rolex, so it's a limited supply item. So things like that could very well, the price could go up significantly if we run into a hyperinflation situation. So keep that in mind. Anything that you need, equipment-wise, even things like vehicles, cars, could hyperinflate. Of course, I never recommend people buy a new car anyway, because you're going to lose your shirt anyhow. But a lot of these things can hyperinflate, and the price can go up significantly. in that kind of an environment. So, Craig, what's your experience with using shell cordovan long term? I think it holds up pretty good. I think I have one pair of shoes that are shell cordovan. That's basically horsehide, right? Sort of. But anyway, I think it holds up pretty good. I have a lot of shoes and I rotate, so all of my shoes are in pretty good shape. Miss Rat agreed today that the Snowflake is a really classy looking piece, but was surprised I was considering a Seiko green light for launch. Yeah, but it's a Grand Seiko. It's a horse of a different color. That's why I don't do things like constantly trade in phones for new ones every year. These companies telling you your phone will be worth nothing after 1 year are absolute scare tactics. Yeah, well, see, I'll keep my iPhone 10 until it's no longer serving the purpose, and then I'll probably buy a new one. But I don't just buy a new phone every year, because as long as it's doing what it needs to do. Now, if you use your phone as your main camera, they've improved cameras quite a bit, so that's probably a reason to upgrade. But I don't use my phone as my main camera. I have actually real cameras that I use for that, so not a situation. Don't worry, Craig. I have enough cologne stockpiled to last me for the next decade. Okay, there you go. Where do you buy a GS? Thurston Howell III. Hopefully we're going to have the Stevester calling in here soon, and he is the one to deal with. He's the GS guy. He has got a great inventory, and this is the time to talk turkey and to wheel and deal, I would say. We went from an insane seller's market to an excellent buyer's market in a matter of 2 weeks. Sean in the house. I think it is. And the Clivester's in the house. I really think people will stop buying luxury products in these uncertain days, so companies will have to lower their prices. There you go. Absolutely. Time to wheel and deal. They won't lower prices. The secondary market will be a lot lower, though. There will always be people with money to spend. No, I'm not so sure about that, John. I'm not so sure about that. I think you're going to see a lot of tightening in the Rolex market. I think you're going to see some deals to be had, even from ADs. I think that's where we're headed with all this. And Craig, is the titanium diver a scratch magnet like Pontiff said? No, absolutely not. I talked about that earlier. The alloy that Grand Seiko uses is actually harder than the stainless steel that Rolex uses. It actually holds up better. Mine's almost 2 years old, and it's holding up great. And again, it's a heavy-use watch. So, and as you know, stainless steel watches scratch like there's no tomorrow. So they're not exactly immune to scratching. So yeah, and he also said that it has a ceramic bezel, which it doesn't. So these so-called watch experts are often not that. But he gave it generally a pretty good review, I thought. I did watch his review, and he said a lot of good things about it. And a lot of the things he said are absolutely true. So there you go. I have an iPhone 5S from 2013 and an HTC Android phone that's the same age. Guess which one actually works still? Yeah, of course, the iPhone. The Clivester in the house. Clivester, please, 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 why don't you put Skype on your computer so that you can Skype into the show? Come on, it's just a free download. Just install Skype. The reason I use Skype as opposed to Hangouts is the video quality is much better on Skype. If you have good bandwidth on your end, I'll put it that way. The video quality on Skype can be really, really good. And as you know, on this broadcast, we like to have high quality material. Morning all, KN in the house, okay? And somebody says, hi, Cheetown, where did you buy that spanner? Okay. Oh, the wrench. You got to be a member of the wrench gang. Kevin, ask to be nominated. If 2 members of the wrench gang approve you, then we will make you a member of the wrench gang. And I don't know why Buerserv, I don't know how you pronounce that. Have you ever asked to be a member of the wrench gang? You're in here often enough and well behaved. So anybody that wants to be a member of the wrench gang, they just have to ask other members of the wrench gang in here. Just ask in the chat for them to recommend you. And then if you get recommended by at least 2 members of the wrench gang, we can make that happen. Do you think the coronavirus is a thing we'll be remembering 30 years from now? Have you experienced anything similar in the 80s and 90s? The SARS thing was a pretty big deal, but I think it was after that, right? I don't remember exactly when that happened, but that's a good question. It depends on the end result here. If this turns out to be a lot less dangerous than everybody thought, then I think it'll be forgotten pretty quickly. If it turns out that, let's say, 500,000 people die, I don't think it'll be forgotten for a long time. But if, let's just to throw out a number, let's say the total death toll is 20,000 people, then I think it will be forgotten pretty quickly. That's kind of my prediction. Because, of course, 20,000 would be like a light flu season, right? So, yeah. Even if it's 50,000 or less, I think it'll be forgotten pretty quickly. And there will be a lot of people wondering why we shut down our whole economy. And again, there's some data that Ben Shapiro was talking about today on his show, on his podcast, that is very encouraging, that might indicate that a lot more people have been infected with this than we thought, that simply just recovered without even having any kind of major symptoms. And so maybe the death rate that people have been talking about, maybe it's not anywhere near as high as people thought, because a lot more people were infected that we didn't even know about. So that's very interesting data that he was talking about today from some major universities like Oxford University and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. We'll remember the panic, maybe. What we'll probably remember and live with for a long time is all this quantitative easing, all this trillions of dollars being thrown around. That's probably going to be the lasting. And that's why I say we might see some hyperinflation. So, folks, that's why I say buy the things that you want now. Normally, I would say save your money. Keep your money in the bank, save your money, right? But if the value gets inflated away, what will that do you, right? So don't just go out and spend like drunken sailors, but buy the things that you want now. Like if you want a nice watch, buy a Grand Seiko now, because 2 years from now, it might be double the price just because of inflation, just because of it might even be quadruple the price if we have like really runaway inflation. So so that's the thing to think about. Our WAGs is in the house. The GS Diver Titanium is not a scratch magnet, just the clasp. That stainless steel is a scratch magnet. Exactly, the stainless steel part, yeah. We're already at 20,000 dead. I don't think so in the U.S. I don't think so. I haven't heard that. Let's see. I'm talking about USA. I think we'll be ingrained into the... Okay. Just got off an international... Okay, so our WAGs was smart. He bought Boeing a week or two ago when it was pretty low, and it has pumped like no tomorrow the last 2 days. Did you take your profits on that, our WAGs? Or are you going to keep holding it? What are you doing with your Boeing stock? Let us know. People are going to stand at the mountain of toilet paper in the corner of their room and wonder what the hell they were thinking. Yeah, they're going to have a lifetime supply of toilet paper. At least it doesn't go bad. G-Town, I'm an Italian citizen. People are getting used to the situation, but they'll definitely remember. Not to say other EU countries will be forgetting anything anytime soon. Craig, would you consider the SBGW 264? I think we talked about that before. Let me pull it up. SBGW 264. Okay, yeah, that's a stunner. That is an absolute stunner, but it is a limited edition to 120 pieces. And let's see what the dimensions are on this. It's 39 by 11.6, so it's even thinner, but it is rose gold. Yeah, I'm not a fan of rose gold, so that's probably why I didn't consider that one. Yeah, I like just the regular 18 karat yellow gold. But if you like rose gold, yeah, that's a stunner. Now, my guess is it's not spring drive. Let's see what drive it has. Yeah, it's got the manual movement, 72-hour power reserve. Okay, Steve is calling. Let me answer this. Let me answer the Stevester, and I'm making you full screen.
Can you see
And
me?
make sure you turn on your video. It just cut out. Your
Uh-oh.
video. Yeah, now we got you.
Okay, got my voice?
Got your voice.
Okay, great.
You are wall to wall and treetop tall.
Uh-huh, there you
And
are.
the topic of today, and since you don't have a bunch of watches to show, we'll just kind of talk in generalities. Let me cut to you so they can see you there. They can see you loud and clear. So keep Boeing. Oh, so our Wags is keeping his Boeing stock. Stephen House, who's going to nominate this Tudor hater? So the Mighty Rat wants to have a wrench. He wants to be nominated for a wrench.
All
So
right.
folks, if you two members of the wrench gang need to vouch for him, and then we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And Cheetown says he remembers the 2009 swine flu. Our WAG says latest numbers to put the COVID-19 in perspective. Currently 60,000 infected. 50% of that number are New York. Of that, so far, there's been 827 deaths. That is 0.137 mortality rate.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Steve. And you know, I was listening to Ben Shapiro's podcast today, Steve, and he
Uh-huh.
was talking about some really favorable information that came out. I think Oxford University and a couple others did some studies, and let's see if this ends up being correct, this information he was talking about. But the information they were talking about is that a lot more people were infected than they thought. And so therefore
Right, the numbers go down.
the
Sure.
denominator is actually much larger than they thought, in
Mm-hmm.
which case the death rate is much smaller than anybody thought. So if this is true, this could be very good news, and hopefully in the next couple of days we'll have more data to know if that's the case. So here's what I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We could have some inflation coming our way. With all this money being spent, these many trillions of dollars being spent,
Mm-hmm.
we could have some significant inflation on the other end of this whole thing. And so I was saying that what you try to do in that kind of a situation is anything that's a limited supply item, you try to buy it now as opposed to waiting, because the price will be significantly higher if we have significant inflation. Now, if it's something that is mass produced, there's huge numbers mass produced and all, then the inflation doesn't tend to hit that as much. But
Mm-hmm.
it hits everything, but it really hits the items that are limited in production, because you've got more dollars floating around chasing after that limited item. So art goes up in price. You know, a Grand Seiko would go up in price because it's a handmade limited production thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, hey, if you've been wanting a Grand Seiko, this is the time to lock and load before we have a situation like that. Would you agree with
Well, I
that?
think we already have a shortage of a number of models, a number of desirable models, and deliveries slowed to a trickle. The distribution point here in the U.S. is almost closed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a question I was just discussing with some folks about what's going on in terms of the Grand Seiko factories in Japan. We don't know, but it's likely they've cut back production
Mm-hmm.
in those facilities.
Yeah,
So
so you better get your Grand Seikos while you can, I think is the message here. Steve has some in stock. He doesn't have an unlimited number in stock, but
yeah, I've got about 55 pieces here.
he has some pieces, but you better get in touch and work something out while you can. And Craig, you got to admit that Tudor Black Bay is a good watch under 3K. I got to admit that Steve has some Grand Seikos under 3K that are stunners. He just sold one yesterday. So if you can buy a Grand Seiko stunner, then yeah, skip the Tudor. That's what I would do. I don't think there will be any inflation. All the countries are having issues. They are all doing the same thing. It's going to zero out, John says. Hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I wouldn't bet on that. If you want the Grand Seiko, I would get it sooner rather than later. It's a decent watch, but I loathe the case proportions. As you talking about the Tudor, yeah, I'd pass on the Tudor too. Um, let's see. The Australian dollar is devaluing like crazy. Okay. Will Steve show and describe what he's wearing on his right wrist?
Okay, we've done this before. This is a an 18 karat gold faux pay bracelet that is stretchy, and it's 100% 18 karat gold.
That's
So
amazing.
those links are gold, as the springs are gold as well, and it's about 7 millimeters thick or
And it
wide, but
holds up great, right?
it really does. And just need to have it cleaned up periodically. It looks
Mhm.
brand new. Made in Vicenza, Italy. Actually, a very high-tech factory that's been around since the 20s, the 1920s, that
Mm-hmm.
is. Very nice piece. We mainly carry ladies, but we have men's. We make them up custom for your size, and you can have.
Well, wait, you don't actually make it; they make it, right?
They make it, yeah,
Okay, so
but we
you,
would
you order it for a
specify.
particular size. Okay,
Yeah, or yeah, if they don't have it in stock in the U.S. But
it,
and then you
th-
can pick your width as well, whether you want 5 millimeters or 7, like I have, depending upon your
and
preference.
the stretch is just enough for you to get it over your hand.
Yeah, I'll hold
Yeah.
it up. And whoops, sorry. So here you can see it, and
If you put your hand behind it, maybe it'll focus on it.
yeah, it wants to focus on the face. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
anyway, it is what it is. So anyway, beautiful piece. I love it. Does get a bit of attention, and I actually did a short
And
show on it a
and you
while ago.
wear it all the time.
I do,
I
yeah.
mean, it's got to be a heavy duty piece because I mean, you have it all the time. What kind of warranty does it come with?
Lifetime, lifetime warranty.
So if anything happens, they'll just make good on it.
Uh-huh.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, very nice brand.
That's what you call confidence in the item. I
Mhm.
mean, that's amazing that it can spring like that and be all 18 karat gold. That is
And it
just
doesn't seem to uh, stretch out at all. It still has
yeah.
the same spring as when I got it. I've had it about 3 years. And interestingly, when you pull it out, the springs are being compressed. It's sort of a mind
Okay.
bender, but that's the way
Okay.
that it's built. So they're not
Interesting.
stretched out. They're actually compressing as you do that.
Wow. That is wild. Okay, so we have another question here for Steve. When is the last time you had a GS Green Dial GMT Peacock at Little Treasury?
Just a few weeks ago, actually. Pre-owned,
Uh,
not new. You
but you
can't get,
sold, but you sold it.
we did. So we're getting some of the rare, super desirable pieces come through as pre-owned, and if you let us know what you're looking for, we will reach out to the people on the list before we put it in the showcase.
That's what you call service, folks. There you
Mm.
go. Let's see. You must love Rolex. Desire to get a GS and despise. You must love Rolex. Desire to get a GS and despise Tudor. Okay, so that's it. That's the qualifications for getting a wrench.
Right.
Okay, I got it. Well,
Yeah.
Stig should apply for a wrench if he knows the qualifications. He doesn't have a
Uh,
wrench. What's going on with
there.
that? Let's see here. And I don't know why Buick doesn't have a wrench. He's in here all the
Uh,
time. What's going on with
yeah.
that? So they are trying to get us on the digital dollar. Well, yeah, because that way they can track everything you do. They're going to be able to know everything you
Yeah.
do with your dollar. Absolutely. The dollars are pretty much digital now anyway. I mean,
Wait a minute. I smell an order here. Blue is asking if you can email in to order a faux pay. Well, you sure can. Tell us your wrist size, what you're looking for. Give me your phone number. I'll give you a buzz. I'll do that tomorrow. I'm going home right after this for dinner.
yeah.
And he asked also about the Godzilla. Yeah, I have one here in stock.
Now, are you going to give him the special broadcast treatment?
I always give the
Okay.
special broadcast treatment,
Okay, good. Good. Okay.
especially the old blue.
There you go. All right, so that's the deal. And I'll tell you what, the neat thing about that bracelet is you can literally wear that all the time because clearly you've been wearing it for 3 years and it's held up great. I mean, it's not
Yep,
something you have to baby. I like that about it.
yep, I enjoy it.
Um, let's see. That's beautiful bracelet, Steve. Real eye-catching. Our wags. Our wags, my gosh, it would go with your date 8. It would
Right,
look
it would.
stunning on your wrist.
Mm-hmm.
You better
We can do it in white gold as well, yellow gold. Mine's rose gold, but it's borders on rose gold, yellow gold rather. It's not
okay.
very
It's not
rosy.
super rosy, yeah.
No, no, it would pass.
Let's see. Steve, has anyone ever come into your shop asking to ice out a watch? What's that mean?
I think to cover it with diamonds.
Oh, okay.
We've done some custom diamond bezels for Rolex, but that's about it.
Those GS Peacocks go for big money, second hand. G-Town in the house.
Above list, but not too bad. We do
There,
not gouge.
yeah, you can get on the list.
Yep,
Let's see. Do you have the Godzilla? Blue's
I do.
asking. Oh, there you go.
I do.
Do a deal. Get the bracelet and the Godzilla together.
A combo is
A,
always good,
a combo meal deal.
but a
Um,
hat trick is always the best.
okay. Do I need a wrench here? Not really. Would it be nice to have one? Sure. Okay. BU serve. Okay, folks. Who's going to nominate uh, BU serve for a wrench? Because we'll give him one right now if we get at least one more nomination. Because I'm nominating him, and we need one more nomination.
I'll
And then
go for it if I can.
you'll nominate him. Okay.
Sure.
Let me just go ahead and tap on this and say add moderator. That should do it. His next comment should have a wrench next to it. We'll see if that worked. Okay, Steve Goodman, I bought a snowflake from you too. There you go.
Yep.
It's the wrench stimulus plan. Everyone gets a wrench. James Scott, James, do you want a wrench? Let me know. We're giving out wrenches today,
Right.
left and right.
I'm going to ice them out too.
Yeah. Craig, could you direct Steve Toy previous comment if he's comfortable answering? Wait, what comment? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. What? Yeah, put the question in there. We'll get on it. He'll comment.
Yeah.
This is an Ask Me Anything segment for Steve.
Oh
Uh,
boy.
oh, somebody did ask about how much this is affecting your business.
Oh
This whole
well, it's
thing.
definitely down. We're not letting anyone in the door. I am getting some Grand Seiko sales over the phone from
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it from your group here,
Mm-hmm.
which I appreciate. But it's a good time to buy from Little Treasury. Let's put it that way.
Buyer's market. Our
Yeah,
wags, that bracelet of Steve's goes perfectly with a gold 18 karat date 8. What do you think? Absolutely, our wags. You should have one with your date 8.
I know. And
Absolutely.
you could pick it up when you next visit us for one of our big events once
Uh,
this all
uh,
passes.
absolutely. Yeah. Kevin in the house, no Rolex here, just GS. There you go, Kevin.
Yep, keep it
Kevin,
clean.
it seems like to me Kevin needs a wrench. Come on, guys, you're not nominating these people fast enough for wrenches. This is a wrench day. Lewis is in the house. Steve needs a gold GS, a classy watch for classy man. Yeah, we talked about
I
that
do.
the other day. That maybe Steve's going to need a gold GS here pretty
I
soon.
can't afford it unless business picks up, folks. You could
Maybe
help
after
get
this
into
whole
that.
thing blows over, after this whole thing blows over, maybe that's your celebration watch.
Sure.
Let's see. Vote. Uh, Steve's vote counts for like 50 other inches. There you go.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
Um, Me too, please. Okay, so Kevin wants a wrench, I guess. I guess that's what he's saying. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's give Kevin a wrench. What do you think, Steve? Kevin gets a wrench?
Go ahead. Give it.
All right, there we go. Kevin should have a wrench in his next comment. James in the house. As a person who introduced you to wet shaving, I think I may qualify for a wrench. James, did you actually introduce me to it? If you did, you get a wrench right now. Absolutely. Bam, just like that. Because I love the double edged shaving. Do you do the double edged shaving, Steve?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I
not yet.
It's one of those cheap little nickel throwaways.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can save a ton of money with the double edge. So
They don't cost much, but
in these times, you might need to go to that
right.
austerity measure.
As you can see, I stopped shaving today. So,
I'm using the Astra blades from Russia. They're dirt cheap, and
uh,
I'll tell you what, though, they work great,
really.
and they are dirt cheap. So yeah, I mean, you got to get the shave. I use the handle. I use you know, really high quality, made in USA shaver, but the blades are dirt cheap. So yeah, and you
Hmm.
should. By the way, Timeless Razor is the company. You should talk to them and have a couple of their razors in stock when you get back geared up, because that'd be a cool little thing to have
Uh-huh.
in your repertoire there. Okay,
Right.
so Steve, do you have any mustache care tips? Cheetown
Hmm.
asks.
Back in the day, in my youth, I've had this thing since I was 18, never shaved it off. And I used to wax it up in my 20s, but that's long gone. I just let it go wild. I don't have a heavy beard, so just trim it very carefully occasionally. The wife gives it a little trim every now and then. She cuts my hair, so she gets into the mustache a little bit. But it's a wild thing. It just
Well,
does
there
its own.
you go. Now, Kyle says he got the tracking number from you. The watch will be there on Friday.
Good.
Kyle, would you like a wrench? Ask in the comment if you want a wrench. Where we'll hit you with a wrench.
He definitely deserves one.
But I don't want to just give it to him unless he wants
If
it.
he doesn't ask,
Yeah.
no, don't.
So
Don't.
Craig, when you get deliveries, do they come in an armored truck? They have to get through security here. It's not easy
Right.
to get through security, but yeah, that's how that works. And somebody says, I nominate Kevin. Okay.
Mhm.
So Kevin's got one. He's already got one there.
Well, if you don't have a wrench, you're really going to feel
And
bad.
Jason says, what Model GS did you get? And maybe he'll answer that. He got a stunner. And Stig, let's see, you are absolutely right about government and their doings here in Denmark. A Rolex AD got a ticket because he took too much cash from a customer. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
SBGX261 took a while to decide. Kyle in the house. Kyle, let us know if you want that wrench. You're going to get it if you want it. Okay. And let's see, James, I sure did. Okay, thanks. Who doesn't have a wrench? Okay. I don't have a wrench, Ken. Okay, so I guess you want one, Ken. If you said you don't have
Hmm.
one, so
Yeah, it sounds like that.
let's give Ken a wrench. Let's see. I used Astra Premium blades as well. They're a great mix between sharpness, affordability, and durability. So there you go. The Astra blades, Steve.
Okay, sorry, just checking something.
You get them on Amazon. Astra, Astra.
And you endorse those,
Oh
Craig?
my gosh, I use them. They're dirt cheap.
Uh-huh. I know,
Um,
but are they sharp? Are they going
yeah,
to plow my skin?
they work
I
great.
got sensitive skin here. I don't want
They work great. I had a couple of cuts the first time I shaved double edged. The second time maybe I had one cut, and after that I'm just good to go. I shave with it every day,
to.
and I love it.
Okay, let's back up here a little bit. Somebody's asking about the STGK009, And where is that?
That's a
That?
lady's watch, I guess.
Yeah, I have it in stock, Mighty Rat. Give me a call. We'll make a deal.
What now? What's the price on that one? List price?
5100. Very reasonable. Beautiful little piece.
Okay, you've got it in stock.
I
By
do.
the way, folks that are watching, don't forget the ladies. You know, these times when you're in the cabin and
Hmm.
you're you can kind of get on each other's nerves a little bit sometimes, right? So
Right.
it might be nice to have a nice little something come from Little Treasury for the lovely lady.
Absolutely.
They're never gonna have an issue with that. I can tell you right now. Doesn't matter what the time is. A nice little something from Little Treasury will always be a plus. Let's see. Using a shave brush and proper cream with a nice double-edged razor is essential for the distinguished gentleman, says
Wow.
James Scott.
Okay. That's
By the
large.
way, I have a video on my channel of me shaving with it. I think the
Okay.
first
I'll
time I
watch.
shaved with it, I think I did a video. Steve, did you inform the wife up front that you and the mustache were a package deal?
It's in the prenup.
There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. And Stig's in the house. I have a Rolex and I hate Tudors. Would that be enough to qualify for? Okay, wrench. Let's give him a wrench.
Yeah.
All right. He
At least
gets a
half of
he
that
gets a
quality.
he gets a wrench. Okay. And a faux pay from Steve is required for a distinguished gentleman.
It is de rigueur, as they say.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kyle's in the house. He says, "I'll take it, but I don't know what to do with it." The wrench, the wrench, the wrench is for if somebody comes in and they're misbehaving, you hit them with the wrench. That's what that's for. You can give them a timeout. You might even be able to block them. I don't know what the options are for you guys with the wrenches. I think you can time out, and I think you can block them too. But anyway.
Has anyone been hit lately? I
With the
haven't
wrench,
seen.
not lately. It hasn't been a big
Yeah.
problem lately. We've
Very
we
well behaved
we've
group, I might
pretty
add.
much hit them all, and we've pretty
Yeah.
much run the trolls out of here. And Ken's using feather blades. Those are really sharp, and I think they come from Japan, Steve. The
Really?
feather. I think the feathers come from Japan. I'm not sure. Correct me
We'll
if
have to
I'm
look
wrong
into
in the
that.
chat. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Kyle's in the
Mm.
house. The Mighty Rat. I'm totally wrenchless. Do you want a wrench?
Oh,
Okay, Mighty Rat, do you want a wrench? That's the
he's
question.
he's good at hinting.
I think Kyle, didn't we give him a wrench? He says, thanks,
I think
Jason.
so.
I thought we gave him a wrench. Maybe,
He
maybe,
doesn't know what to do with it though. So
well, let me just make sure. No, he is a monitor. He just, next comment, he comments there'll be a wrench there. Okay, so Lewis, I have to thank, uh, I have Craig to thank for my SBGN005 and my SBGT241 and more importantly for lessons on prudent purchases. I'd love a wrench. Lewis in the house. Well, I guess he gets a wrench after all that.
yeah,
My
right.
my goodness. What do you have to do around here to get a wrench?
Uh-huh.
Derek's in the house. I have Craig to thank for getting rid of my tutor. Well, there you
Ah,
go. Well, Derek,
Derek, is it? You just can't let that tutor
you
go,
gotta
can you,
ask
Derek?
if you gotta ask if you need a wrench, Derek. That's the thing. You gotta ask about that. Okay, Blue. I don't buy the ladies a tutor, they will be insulted and smack your face.
Oh, smack
Absolutely.
your
Get them
face.
a GS. My goodness, yes.
Right, right.
Um, and Blue, okay. I suspect a vintage 1958 Gillette Fat Boy razor, but it's a bit aggressive for me. Okay. I really like the timeless razors that I have. And believe it or not, the aluminum one that I have that I keep in the shower, it is fantastic, and it's like I think their cheapest one. I have the stainless steel one, I have the bronze
Mhm.
one, and the aluminum one, and I like the aluminum one.
Mm.
They all three work great. Let's see, Lewis. I suspect. Oh, I already read that. The correct
Mhm.
shaving soap is critical. Yeah, you get a
Mhm.
good shaving soap and a nice brush.
Okay.
You sound like you are speaking from experience, Blue. There you go. Ha, I speak from experience. She said, "Oh my God, Tudor, what do you think I am?" She left me. She left me. Oh my gosh. Feathers are from Japan, yes. Feathers are very sharp. I'm a little bit scared of using feathers just because they're so sharp.
Hmm.
Um, some people say that it is easier to do some damage with those, but I haven't tried them, so I can't speak firsthand on the feather blades, but they are sharp. Kyle Jett, no, I remember the person that got hit talking to Bree the other day. Oh, somebody got hit with a
Oh,
wrench the other day. Okay.
okay.
Well, there you go. They come in here, they're going to be surrounded by wrenches. If they come in here, there'll be no shortage of wrenches to deal with them. That's for sure. Ken's in the house. Pre-shave, pre-shave and soap with feathers. No cuts anymore. Ken, there you go.
Hmm.
All right. Well,
Good.
when can you show us some watches, Steve? They're chomping at the
Well,
bit. They want to see watches.
yeah, they're all locked up in the safe, guys. I've been here pretty much alone today, catching up on things. As you know, the doors are shut,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't open the safe, so that's not one of my jobs here. So, but I have some good news. Um, Next Wednesday at 5 o'clock, I will be preempting the Craig show,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll have Joe Kirk from Grand Seiko Skyping in and have a good discussion. So get your questions ready. Those of you who don't know, Joe is the preeminent U.S. Expert on Grand Seiko, works for the
Okay, so
company.
that's next Wednesday.
Yes.
You're talking to a guy that doesn't even buy green bananas. I mean, that's how far I plan ahead.
Okay.
So what in the heck is going on this week?
Well, we'll see. I'll pull out some watches. Maybe we'll take a look tomorrow. What
Okay.
do you guys want to see? What do you want to see?
All right, so when are we going to do it tomorrow?
Uh, phew,
You want same time, same place, or is this too
Same
late for
time,
you?
same place. Yep. Okay.
Maybe you can come on right at 5,
Yep.
and then you can get out quicker.
Yep. Yep. Because we're closing at 5 now. I mean, we're not open to the public, but
Yeah.
I'm not answering the phone or anything after 5 going home.
Okay,
So
so
we'll,
let's
we'll do
make a
it then.
date for 5 o'clock tomorrow and show us a bunch of watches.
Show you a bunch of watches.
And same
Okay.
Grand Seiko. What we'll do is part 2. This is part 1. We'll do
Mm-hmm.
part 2 tomorrow, where we're actually showing all the watches.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Alrighty.
That's a date, folks. Any last second questions for Steve? Put them in the chat. We got about a 20-second delay, so put them in the
Okay.
chat. And littletreasury.com. Always keep in mind that his link is always in the description of the video. So if
Mm-hmm.
you ever need to get through to his website, just go in the description of any of these videos and you'll see a link to littletreasury.com. You'll also see the link to my page on my website that goes into excruciating detail about Grand Seiko.
I want to answer Thurston Howell the third here. Where can we see your watches available for sale? You can at littletreasury.com. Littletreasury.com.
Okay. But there are some that you have that aren't on this website, right? I mean, they should always call you to make sure because you could
Right,
have
right.
something
And
that's not
there
on
might
there.
be a couple up that we don't have at the moment. We don't have 100% correspondence, but we try to.
And sometimes you'll get a watch in and it's not updated on there yet, right?
Right, but we're
So,
pretty good with the Grand Seiko.
okay. All right. And so, let's see. There's some shaving points in there. I wonder when the new Grand Seiko spring drive movement will be expanded to more watches. I'd like to see thinner watches. Lewis in the house. Well, maybe that's a
Right.
thing to ask Joe Kirk next Wednesday.
Right, but pre-warned, he's not going to answer too many questions about the new models not yet released. So that may be something he's not going to get into.
Okay. Okay. And Kyle sent an email. I'll look at that email after Steve pops out. And the
Okay.
Mighty Rat, I want a wrench. The Mighty Rat. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're going to give him a wrench.
I'm going to scoot,
And
guys.
this is
So,
wrench day. All right. Thanks for
all right.
coming on.
Take
And
care,
we will
everybody.
see you in
See you tomorrow.
less than 24 hours.
Yep. Okay. Take
Take
care. Bye.
care. Bye bye.
Bye.
And that was the Stevester. That was the Stevester. And I noticed the lovely Brianna speaking of people that have wrenches, the lovely Brianna is now in the house, and let's pull up her website. She always gets a little plug when she comes in and pops in. And there is her website, briefitdance.com. briefitdance.com. And click down on the bottom. There's links to her Patreon and all her social media. Be sure to follow her on all the platforms. And hey, if you feel generous, sign up as a Patreon. It can be as little as $5 a month. I highly recommend the $25 tier. Bree, let us know. Are you going to do a video chat with them, a one-on-one video chat with them if they sign up for the $25 tier? There you go. Let us know in the chat if you'll do that, if they sign up. And let's see what else we got going on here. I promised Steve the moment there is a sub 40 millimeter 44 GS spring drive. I'll be two of them. I'll buy two of them. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, a smaller spring drive unit. They're coming, I think. I think they're coming. And let's see. By the way, check out my new dance video on my channel. Oh, wow. Okay. Thanks, Craig. Remember to subscribe, like, broadcast, click bell to get a reminder. Email Craig at, there you go, CraigShipp@gmail.com. Absolutely. And let me know in the chat, Brianna, if you're going to come in, if you're going to Skype in and say hi, let us know in the chat. Otherwise, we will wrap up the show. But she says, yes, I can do a live chat with them if they are a Patreon. There you go. $25 level, though. $25 level Patreon. Yeah, not you can't be a cheapskate. You can't be a cheapskate. But hey, if you sign up for a $5 Patreon, that's still a lot better than nothing, right? Absolutely. That's appreciated, even the $5 level. But the $25 level, you get the VIP treatment. That's how that works. All right, I think we're going to wrap this puppy up. Again, all the links are in the chat. And we will have another show, mañana. We're trying to do shows every day during this situation that we have. We're trying to do shows every day just to keep people informed and entertained and all of that kind of good stuff. So yeah, it's all good. I'm going to refresh here just to make sure I didn't miss anything. And this situation that we have. And this has been a little less than an hour live. And so so we moved along a little bit. And let me just show one more time the 002 Stunner, which I have no information on the 002. I did ask Steve if he has any information. I asked him yesterday, and no information. Hopefully he'll get some information soon about whether or not those are going to be shipped or not, or whether or not they have been shipped. We just know nothing at this point. He had ordered two. We don't know the status of those watches at this point. So that's where we stand. Bree should do more with Kent Courtney. Absolutely, we should do some more with Kent Courtney. Have a good evening all, says Ken. All right, we're going to wrap this puppy up. Oh, I can take these headphones off because I'm not listening to Steve anymore, so I don't need those. So we're going to wrap this puppy up. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Unfortunately, I can't do a live chat, but I could soon. Have a good evening, everyone. Okay, well, maybe you can come into another show. You know you're always welcome to Skype into the show and say hi and bring us up to date with everything going on in the Bree Fit Dance world. So on that note, I'm going to pull up the app here. Pull up the app and terminate. Whoops, I just pulled up the wrong app. A little bit of live TV operator error. And I'm connecting. Thurston Howe III, have a good evening. How come you don't have a wrench? You got to ask for a wrench next time. Thank you guys. Catch you tomorrow. All right. Yeah, 5 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to be live with Steve. He's going to show some watches live on the show. It'll be a part 2, a continuation of this broadcast. So, without further ado, and by the way, check out the Pontiff's review of the 231 Diver Stunner. He did it today. He did a pretty good review. A couple of errors in his information, but overall it was a pretty good thing. Okay, so Thurston Howe says, please, thank you. Okay, so I think he wants a wrench. Let's give him a wrench before I pop out of here. All right, we just added a wrench to Thurston Howe. All right, and we are going to wrap this puppy up. Thanks again, everybody, for watching.